Let's get to it, left. Defensive line. Speaking of defensive line, Notre Dame on August the 9th will be looking to seal the deal on what has been Al Washington's pretty much his best recruiting class up to date
It's
with
him and Gino
Elijah
trying to
Golden.
shine.
And you have deemed this fall camp the Al Washington Gino Gaduli show.
Oh, they the last ones to the party. They got to unveil that dessert. We ain't had the main course. We ain't feasted on the turkey. We ain't had the appetizer.
Yeah.
Now we're on that dessert course. Now, the speculation amongst the family members: is it apple? Is it peach cobbler? Is it key lime pie? What are they bringing?
Yeah.
Because we haven't got through the meat and potatoes of what essentially the program is. We're 1A, 1B roster. We great throughout. Maybe not the best, but we certainly got elite players, But the difference is, okay, that icing on the top.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback, shining position. D-line, shining positions. Highly recruited positions. Highly paid positions. Positions that, if you just had those two alone, you can win a lot of games. Possibly a championship.
Yeah.
Just those two alone. I mean, we've seen it done, which has been one of the more elusive things for us. But if we get one out of the two this year, because this is not just a one and done operation, I can foresee it growing, even if it's not to the quite expectations of what we think. We know for sure it's going to be better because we're deeper and we're healthy. And we got some young guys that you look at, Christopher Burgess, Elijah Burgess, whatever. He's out the back. You buy the toy off the toy store. It's out the pack, ready to play.
Yeah.
And extra attachments. He's ready to go. So, and it's important because through the years, statistically, it's funny because they show up in the league, but our production doesn't show up necessarily individually throughout the season. Kurt Heinrich is a really good D lineman for the Houston Texans. But with us, it's like, he was just a good, so I don't know if it's the lack of superstardom in the D line that makes it all look sort of like convoluted, because we saw throughout the season, guys were flashing every game.
Yeah.
Every game. Boubacar Traore started strong. Then we had, Botello doing well. Then he went down. Then these young guys started doing well. So it's really crazy to see the development. So out of one of the two groups is going to shine this year because they have to. I think when you're rebuilding a defense from the structurally outside of just your main one or two stars, D-line can make up for a lot of the stuff you're trying to patch up and work in the groove of. And with the veteran leadership of the linebacker core being, essentially that group, that sticks together, that plays together throughout the years, that would be a lot of support. But it's more so set up for the D-line to shine. We know the secondary has earned its stripes through being drafted, to the splashes, to the consistent players, to the coaching has been there. So it's safe to say we can rely on that back end as at worst last defense, right? You move down to a linebacker core that has stars. I think we'll see more stars in that linebacker room, be more apparent, and have more command over defense, because that's just the makeup of the team. Consider Marcus Freeman was a linebacker and his influence, and you bring in Chris Ash. It's just, if you're looking at the face of a program for a position, it's definitely linebacker. Now, we would like it to be quarterback, and we're working on that. Yeah, we slowly but surely trying to find a guy, but one of the two positions between Gino and Al Washington got to shine. I think Al Washington has a great chance considering the depth that he has. It's a little higher stakes when you're dealing with two guys that's never played at quarterback. So Al Washington can play some mismatch, combinations, some variables, some who's hot, who's not. Because he's got 8 and 9 interior guys, got a couple transfers. I mean, he's dealing with something that he's going into the kitchen with the cupboards full, refrigerator stop. Marcus Freeman's like, hey, what you gonna do? What we making? So that's why it's more so of the pressure of you don't have an excuse necessarily, Al Washington. Not that you need one, and not that you haven't been solid, but we need that position to pop. Just like nothing's wrong with our offense, but we need the passing game to pop. That's just the next step. It's the right step, but it's the next step. So through camp, it should be exciting for the D-line because one, the sidebar, which has always been the foundational piece, once again, to Notre Dame is the offensive line. These guys are getting a 2x bonus rating going against our offensive line every day. Every day. So that's a great measuring stick when you're in camp, when you're looking at film for guys that you're not quite sure of because you're quite sure of the offensive line. Whether they be starting right now, they played a couple games, you know that they're 90% of the time going to handle business. So you know if you got some D linemen that are flashing against them, oh, you cook it. Your mind's a little at ease walking into the first game in Miami, walking into some because you're like, not only we got depth, but 4 out of 5 guys is giving work. Man, not everybody winning, but not winning against our line is a normal thing. So we might get a star, Jason Onye or something, pop out and really take over because I'm sure those guys are on the flip side going to be surprised how easy the game is. they probably looking at it right now and can't like this college football. Golly, these dudes is tough. And then we're going to play, and not to disrespect no teams, but we're going to play other teams as offensive line is not the same, right? And our guys are going to be like, I can get away with some stuff. I can, you know? So I do think that's the benefit of having Notre Dame's offensive line going against them every day in camp. So there's all the context clues you would say, yeah, Notre Dame D-line should be way more productive, way more exciting this year. Because everything else is covered. I mean, essentially, everything else is covered.
My bad. I'm thinking about it because it was just announced today that Notre Dame had 2 guys up for the Outland Trophy, Armel Wagner and Billy Shrouf. And I'm thinking about the last time Notre Dame had an interior defensive lineman on the watch list for that award that eventually became a finalist. I'm trying to think, was Riley Mills? Let me see if Riley Mills was on the watch. He probably was on him and Howard Cross were probably on the watch list. Let me double check. I think they were. Yeah. Riley Mills was on the watch list, but eventually made it to the finalist list. I'm trying to think, maybe did Sheldon make it as a finalist?
Sheldon was a good conversation. I just don't think we just haven't. I don't know, man. I think maybe it's an elusive position that you would think that it would be easy to recruit, but you just don't get Jordan Davises and Nolan Smiths and these giant monsters that sometimes the SEC can seem to print off. But it's a team game, and that's the difference that I think we showed college football last year was the fact that it's a team sport. We may not have the Hollywood A-lister celebrities, but we got the social media stars. You know, we got the different kind of fame, the different kind of way of doing things that I think other teams are going to adopt eventually. The transfer portal evening out more teams as years go by. We're learning more how to navigate that, the unlimited offers, and it's just the game is meant to even itself out. I think it's more even than most years. Because who outside of us in Ohio State for sure, who can you say is just gonna go run the table? I can't name too many teams, so it makes college football exciting.
Yeah, last year Riley and Howard Cross were up for the Outland on the watch list. And so someone asked, no, Outland is for offensive line and interior defensive line. So yeah, Howard Cross and Riley were up for it. Definitely on the watch list. So we haven't had a dominant guy on the inside for a long time. It's been a while. It's been a while. Riley Mills is about as dominant of a player as we've had on the inside.
He was a really good D lineman. That's the thing. We got really good D linemen, but the dominant players like a Reggie White, a Stephon Tuitt. You know, when's the last Stephon? I mean, what would you count?
Might have been the last finalist.
Well, yeah, but I said, who would you count Foskey as a dominant player?
But he's not. He wasn't up for the Outland. He was a rush in. So, yeah.
I don't know.
But here's the question, and this is based upon reports, going to message boards, and just talking to people around the program. Without the buzz, could this end up being a year where someone comes out of nowhere to be that dominant guy on the interior of the defensive line? Now, you have Elijah Hughes to transfer, Jared Dawson.
I mean, you've heard how they've talked coming into it. They're like, oh, I thought I worked hard. I thought I was, knowing how things operate, but I see everybody else doing it. That just tell you that it's existing in the room. You can just see everybody kind of looking around, peeking their head around, like who gonna take the biggest chomp at the steak, right? So I think adding those guys in adds a little sauce, a little flavor where you're like, okay, these guys coming in trying to take my job. I hope it feels a little bit like that, right? Like,
yeah,
what's the competition level? Because we know there's all Notre Dame men are good, fun-loving teammates, but D-line's just one of those unique positions where we need guys to be nasty. We need guys that don't tuck their shirt in and, don't say thank you all the time and happen to do things a little greasy. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we play football. You got because you got the clean dudes, receivers. We got all the, superstar receivers and divas and all that. But yeah, we need an edge.
So you have Elijah Hughes, Jared Dawson, the transfers, but you have two guys in Armel Mukam and Jason Onye, who both have been guys that the fan base have been waiting to show up and bust out. Jason Onye was on the verge for 2 straight springs heading into last season. He was the guy that you kept hearing about. Unfortunately, he had some personal and some off-field issues that kind of short-circuited his season last year. And you continue to hear the same thing about him this year. Like he might be the greatest spring practice player of all time in Notre Dame.
Oh, you getting the buzz again?
That Jason Onye for 3 straight springs.
It's getting the breakout buzz.
3 straight. Now,
but what's interesting is that, that's what makes Notre Dame another what do you call it, monkey wrench, is that you're playing in spots. You got to be great in spots. It's not too much of a volume thing. It's like, okay, how great can you be in 30% of the plays or in crucial moments in third down or for specific roles? Because how do you manage 8 or 9 guys that you like? 8 or 9 guys that are talented enough.